Hey guys, this is my second episode, Key Signatures. So, let's get started. So what is a key? A key is the scale that the music revolves around. This key can be identified using what we call a key signature, which a key signature is a symbol that contains every accidental found in the scale. Our review vocabulary terms are accidentals, which are symbols that indicate that a pitch has been modified. So if we look on the next slide, we have two examples of key signatures. On the left-hand picture, it is C major. As you can see, there is no accidentals, as there are no accidentals in the C major scale. If you look at the right-hand picture, you can see that there is one flat, which if you count up, that is B flat, which the scale that has one flat, which is B flat, is the F major scale. Continuing on, how do we identify these scales or keys? How do we remember them? So a good key to remember them is the circle of fifths and fourths. The circle of fifths are in intervals of fifths, while the circle of fourths are in intervals of fourths. So for the circles of fifths, if you count it up, C, D, E, F, G. The fifth of C is G. Or if you were doing the circles of fourths and intervals of fourths, you would do C, D, E, F. F is the fourth of C. These are both really systems to analyze the accidentals that are in major scales. In the circles of fifths, there will be one accidental added each time, while the circle of fourths, there will be one less accidental, or there will be one flat added each time. Our review vocabulary terms is scale, which is a set of pitches in an organized order, and intervals, which is the distance between two pitches. So the next slide has an example of the circle of fifths and circle of fourths. So if you go right, is the circle of fifths. If you go left, that is the circle of fourths. At the top is C, which has no accidentals. If you go right, you go C, D, E, F, G. G, which is the fifth, and you add the one sharp. And that continues on and on. If you were doing the fourths, you would go left and you would see it adds a flat every time. Continuing on, so now that you know how to identify the key and know that each time it adds a sharp or adds a flat, depending if you're using the circle of fifths or circle of fourths, how do you know which flats or which sharps that is going to be? And what we use is the order of sharps and flats, which means that the sharps and flats of the key signatures always follow this specific order, and they are always going to be written in this specific order. The order of flats is B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and F flat, while the order of sharps is F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and B sharp. The way to remember the orders of flats is bead greatest common factor, so B-E-A-D, bead, greatest common factor, G-C-F. And the way to remember the order of sharps is an acronym, which is furry, F sharp. Cats go down alleys eating birds, so each word is assigned to a letter. I'll say it one more time. Furry cats going down alleys eating birds. As you might notice, the order of sharps is the exact opposite of the order of flats, so it is inverted, which makes it even easier to remember. To review the vocabulary terms, a sharp raises the pitch by a semitone, while a flat lowers the pitch by a semitone, or a half step. For our example here, the left-hand side is C flat, while the right-hand side is C sharp. So if you're looking at C flat, which has the most amounts of flats that can be in a key signature, you can see that the first one right beside the treble clef is B flat, then it follows E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, F flat, so beat greatest common factor. If you look at the right-hand side, which is C sharp, which has the most amount of sharps that can be in a key signature, you can see it starts with F right beside the treble clef, so furry, then cats go down alleys eating birds. So it goes in sequential order. Finally, how do we interpret keys? So to find these keys and just be able to look at a piece of music and know exactly what that key is very difficult to memorize at times, especially for beginning students. So there's a couple tricks to identify these keys. One way is that if there's flats, all you have to do is look at the second to last flat, and that is the name of the key signature. If you're doing sharps, however, you look at the last sharp and you go a half step or a semitone up. So the next slide has this example, which if you look at the left-hand key signature and you do the second to last flat, the flat is on A, so the key is A flat major. If you look at the right-hand side, which is using sharps in the key signature, the last sharp is E sharp, which is the enharmonic to F, so it's better to think about it that way. And if you go up a half step from F, the key signature name is F sharp. On the flip side, you have to remember that there is also minor scales and minor key signatures. Whenever we're thinking about this, there's not a totally different subset to minor key signatures. They're actually the same thing. So now we talk about relatives. So remember that each key signature has both a minor and a major key. And the minor and major key that shares the same amount of sharps and flats is known as relative keys. To determine the minor key, you can either do one of two things. You can go a minor third down of the major key, or you can go a sixth scale degree up from the major key. So in the next slide, we're going to start with C major and try and find the minor relative of that. So if we do the sixth scale degree way and go C, D, E, F, G, A is the sixth scale degree of C. If you were doing the minor third down, which would be 3 semitones down, you would start from the C all the way up the octave and go down from C to B to B flat, and then from B flat to A. And you can do this for any key signatures to find either the minor or the major. To summarize, a key signature identifies the scale the music revolves around. It is kind of the rule book or the guidelines for the music. The key signature has this certain order of sharps or flats, which is the order of sharps and flats. So as we talked about before, beat greatest common factor, or furry cats go down alleys eating birds. To identify, you can use the circle of fifths and fourths. And finally, a major key has a minor key that has the same accidentals, which is known as its relative key. Our final vocabulary terms. Accidentals are symbols that indicate that a pitch has been modified. Sharp raises the pitch by a half step or semitone, while a flat lowers the pitch by a half step or semitone. A scale is a set of pitches in an organized order, while an interval is the distance between two pitches. And that is it for episode number 2, Keys and Key Signatures.